January 27th marks the beginning of the 2023 home campaign for the Boise State gymnastics squad as they host the top-ranked MRGC team, the number 21 Southern Utah Flippin' Birds. Welcome inside Extra Mile Arena. My name is Taylor Little, alongside myself this evening, Alex Ismarian and Hope Maciedo. And ladies, through the first two meets of this year, Boise State has sort of stumbled a little bit, but they're starting to find their footing as they get through.
Absolutely, and that's common with the beginning of this season. We've got a great opponent tonight with Southern Utah, third meet out of the year, so it'll be fun to have them at home.
Big-time leaders for this Boise State squad, starting off with Courtney Blackson. She's a former MRGC event champion. And Alex, what have you seen from Courtney that you really like to see in a gymnast?
Just a lot of experience from Courtney. She's a powerful gymnast. She's really fun to watch, and she's super composed. I think she's the most senior. You're going to see her on 3 events tonight, so it should be super fun to watch her.
The other big-time player for this squad, Emily Lopez and Hope. Your former teammate of yours, what have you seen from Emily this season that you really, really like to see?
Emily has been such a huge contributor ever since she walked on campus, and every routine you're going to see tonight, she makes look effortless. I'm just excited to see what she's going to do in extra mile tonight.
Southern Utah comes into this meet tonight as the top-ranked team in the MRGC. They're ranked number 21 nationally, and leading the way, Carly McLean, currently the number 1 all-around competitor in the North Central region. This is a squad that last year we saw some big-time flashes of, especially during conference. They looked like they were kind of finding their way and finding their own, and now they're the number 1 team in the MRGC.
Yeah, I think the MRGC just over the years has gotten really competitive, and including Southern Utah, they're always a good opponent for us. I think it's going to bring some extra energy for the Broncos. It's going to make them compete tonight. It's heads up for a fun competition.
Yeah, and Southern Utah has always been just right there. They're super competitive this year. I think they have a lot of senior leadership on their squad, so I think they're going to bring a lot of competitive edge to the arena tonight.
It's the number 21 Southern Utah Flippin' Birds and Boise State coming up next. Hang with us as the Broncos make their way over to the vault. Flippin' Birds to bars in rotation number 1. We'll be right back here on the Bronco Digital Network. Hang with us. Back inside Extra Mile Arena as we get ready for rotation number 1, the 2023 campaign at home, at least, for the Broncos of Boise State is about ready to get underway as they host the number 21 ranked Southern Utah Flippin' Birds. And Boise State will start things off tonight on the vault. And the very first gymnast to go, Danny Nakayama. She's been on the roster for quite a while, but this is the first time that we've ever seen her make the lineup.
Yeah, Danny's always worked so hard in the gym, and is just that teammate that you just look to whenever you need that extra motivation. And I'm so excited to see her compete tonight. She's definitely earned that spot, and let's see what she does in the lineup.
She's been, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, super excited for Danny. I think it's amazing when someone works so hard and they finally get their chance in the lineup. I personally have experience with that, so we're really excited to see her. And then we're going to have a couple vaults that actually start from a 10-0 tonight, including Adriana Pop, and then along with Alyssa, we'll do a really interesting vault as well. So looking forward to seeing that.
So as we get ready, the Boise State chant gets underway here inside the arena. A really good turnout. Boise State marketing has done a fantastic job advertising this thing tonight. In rotation number 1, Southern Utah will start things off on the bars. They're currently ranked number 20 in the country on that event. Danny will get set, ready to go here in about 10 seconds as the one-touch warm-up comes to an end. And the 2023 home campaign, only 3 home meets this season for the Broncos, about ready to get underway. You see the new scoring graphic on your left. That will remain there the remainder of the meet. You'll be able to see scores in real time and follow along. So if we do miss a routine or we do miss a score, you will see it there on your screen. So keep a close eye as Danny Nakayama, the Yorba Linda native, gets ready to go on vault for the Broncos.
Yeah, and she will be performing a Yurchenko full, which is a 9.95 start value. You'll see this vault a lot tonight. Gets a good block, just a little hop, but really awesome job, especially for her first time.
First up on the bars for Southern Utah, Caitlin Coe.
Take one more look.
Good block, nice form. Lands just a little bit off the center line. That'll be a small deduction, but really awesome start for the Broncos.
Caitlin Coe, the grad student at Southern Utah, now on the
She'll
bars.
do a Maloney into a pack salto, really good transition, half pirouette. And she'll get up to the high bar, kip cast handstand, into a beautiful full out dismount, really good landing, really good routine for Coe.
We'll talk a little bit more about the Coes here momentarily, as there's a little bit of history this evening being made inside Extra Mile.
On bars, you're looking for those handstands, good clean form, and she had that difficult entrance into that dismount, so that should give her a couple extra little bonus tenths with the judges.
From Caitlin Coe to Sydney Coe, little sister on the vault for Boise State. One more Coe sister set to compete tonight for Southern Utah. All three sisters on the floor at the same time. They'll actually see each other a few more times this year, as of course Southern Utah in the Mountain Rim.
She's going to do the same vault as Danny, big Yurchenko full and good form. She was a little bit more centered, which is what the judges want to see, so awesome second vault there for Sydney. Yeah, really clean throughout the air. Just that tiny little hop keeps her feet together, nice and controlled, and that's what you want to see on vault. It's a quick event. You want to see that big block, good distance, and then them just control that landing.
Aubrey Schwartz getting set to go now for the Flippin' Birds of Southern Utah. Mama and Papa Coe in attendance tonight as well, so it's a family affair for the Coes, and it's going to be a little weird to have your sisters, if you're in Caitlin's spot, just across the floor. I mean, are you guys, do you talk? Do you share some trade secrets? Do you kind of know what you kind of have to know what everybody's working on, right?
Yeah, definitely a rivalry for sure. And this is the only year that all three sisters will be competing against one another. So definitely watch out for the Coes this season.
I think that's pretty cool to share this with your siblings. It's pretty rare, so fun for them.
The junior from Ames, Iowa, now on the bars for Southern Utah.
And she'll do a piked Jaeger, that's an E-level skill, to a nice handstand, transition, shoot over down to the low bar. Nice handstand shape here, blindfold into a double back dismount. Little hop on the landing there, but overall great routine for her.
So you hear scores come through from our in-house PA announcer, Jeremy. But you'll also see those scores pop up on that graphic on the left-hand side of your screen, so keep an eye over there to follow along as the meet wears on. The Broncos getting ready to go with Alyssa Vulai on vault.
And Alyssa has one of those 10-0 start values, so watch this vault. It's very different than what you'll see most of the girls do tonight. She does a full onto the table, and then she does a back pike off. So bigger start value, more room for a bigger score. Full on pike off, really nicely done. That is a tough vault, and she nails it. Just a little hop on the ending, but awesome job for Alyssa. Super powerful gymnast. Yeah, full on, super good form. It's hard in that move to keep your feet together the entire time, and she does a really good job with it. She should be pumped up.
So now over to Southern Utah on the bars, and we talked about her a little bit in our open. Carly McLean has been leading the way for this Southern Utah squad, and she has put up some pretty serious numbers this year for the Southern Utah squad.
Yeah, Carly's definitely a vet for the team. You'll just see her composure. She's super calm, cool, collected, and that's what college gymnastics is all about, so she's always fun to watch.
She has a season high of 9.9 and a career high of 9.925 on this event, so we should expect to see a big routine here from Carly.
And here she sets up for her routine. Great handstand to start off. Into a nice Jaeger. Shoot over, down to the low bar. Giant into a big double layout, into a stick. Great routine for Carly. She really fought for those handstands, and then added the stick at the end, so she should expect a great score.
And now
Chest
Adrian.
oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, chest was a little low on the dismount, so you may see a little deduction there, but overall, it was a pretty good routine.
Now straight away to the vault, and Adriana Pop.
Big vault right here, another 10-0 start back to back. That is such a challenging vault because of the entrance. You'll see it again here in a second. She comes in on a forward entry, so she doesn't have the power that all the other gymnasts or most of them have from that round off. So that big punch, big block, just a little bit chest down on the landing caused her to step back, but huge vault for Adriana. That is a massive vault.
And back over to the bars as we get ready to see Shailen Murakami for Southern Utah. You see some of these scores coming in. Aubrey Schwartz with a 9.825 for Southern Utah. Caitlin Coe with a 9.8, and we're still waiting, I think, on Carly McLean's score to come across the board here. So as soon as the judges get sorted on what that score is going to look like, we will make way for Shailen.
Sometimes the gymnasts have to wait a little bit longer for the judges. Just sometimes there's a discrepancy in the score. Looks like we're going to get going here soon, but she's just keeping loose right now, getting ready, trying to stay focused, but not too worried about the event. You want to stay focused and just trust your gymnastics.
She's getting ready to go. Jump up to the high bar. Great handstand there. Into a big straddled Jaeger right down to the low bar. Beautiful handstand throughout the whole routine. Into a great full-out dismount to a stick.
Yeah, that was a really nice routine. Her team is pumped up for her, as they should be. Showing that dismount one more time. Little bit of feet separation, but that stick kind of erases that in the judges' mind. That's what they always want to see, leaving them with a good taste in their mouth.
And now one of our team leaders in Emily Lopez on the vault.
Yeah, Emily is always going to deliver. She is so consistent. She makes that vault look so easy. Kind of drops right into the ground. I don't think it was a true stick, but everything else was just about perfect. Like the tiniest of slide with her feet, but she should be really happy about that.
Teammates fired up for her, and you said she makes it look easy? Easy like Sunday morning.
I'd say so.
It's so smooth looking, athletic. It's just truly inspirational to see something like that. I wish that I had an ounce of that athleticism at some point in my lifetime.
I wish that for you too, Taylor.
But alas, we move over to the bars where we find Southern Utah's Isabella Neff getting ready to go.
Shailen Murakami scores 9.825 on the bars for Southern Utah. Next up on the bars for the Thunderbirds, Isabella Neff.
Great handstand, toe on toe off into a Maloney. Shoot over right back down to the low bar. And she'll set up for her dismount here. Into a blind full, double back. That step forward will cost her a little bit, but overall she had a great routine.
And you'll see some gymnasts when they just do that double back landing, like you'll see right here, she does that combination into it to make it more difficult. There's certain requirements in college gymnastics. Everyone starts from a certain value and they have to work up to that 10.0 start value.
The junior from Elk Grove, Courtney Blackson, on her way.
Courtney always delivers a big vault here. Huge Yurchenko full. She is capable of adding another half twist on there and making it that 1.5, but still the beginning of season, still playing it a little safe, and obviously she's got the power to give you that extra half. See it again right here. Maybe not the biggest block we've seen from her, but good form. Courtney's always super clean.
So Trista Goodman for Southern Utah getting set to go on the bars, but that will round out the rotation number 1 for Boise State. Alex, Hope, what do you guys think of vault for the Broncos thus far?
You know, vault has never been the strongest for the Broncos, but I think overall they had consistency, and honestly that's key in the lineup. You just want to have good, solid landings, and I think that's what the Broncos delivered here today.
So one more gymnast set to go here for Southern Utah. That is Trista Goodman. I think we're just waiting on one last score. Southern Utah, again, ranked currently number 20 in the country on this event. They are currently ranked number 21 all around as a team in the country. They are the highest ranked team in the Mountain Rim. I believe they finished last year in third in conference. So Trista set to go as she makes her way to the high bar.
She has a blind into a piked Jaeger. Transition down, beautiful pack, really good height on that, into a half pirouette. And she'll set up for her dismount. Kip cast into a blind full, good handstand there. Just almost there, little step on the landing, but good routine for Trista.
So that'll round out rotation number 1 as we take one more look at Trista Goodman's dismount here. And Southern Utah in rotation number 2 will make their way to the vault. The Broncos go to bars. Stick with us on the Bronco. Back for rotation number 2, and it was Southern Utah leading the way in rotation number 1. This is Shylin Murakami on bars. She walked away with a 9.875.
And Shylin just had really good handstands in this set, great details in her skills, and overall just a great routine for her.
Led the way for Southern Utah, 9.875. She was followed up by a few 9.825s and a 9.8. So Southern Utah, the 20th ranked bars team in the country, led by Shylin. And it was Emily Lopez with this 9.850 on the vault for the Broncos.
And no surprise here, Emily delivers week after week. You just see the form. There's nothing insanely special about it, but the consistency in her form makes it stand out in front of the crowd, and her score really shows that.
So through rotation number 1, Southern Utah leads the way, 49.1. Boise State, 48.775. And it's Haley Voltaggio to get it started for Southern Utah on the vault in rotation number 2.
And she does that Yurchenko full that you've already seen a lot. You'll see it a lot more. She had a big hop backwards, but good vault to start off Southern Utah. They're going to want to build on that.
And Talia Little now on bars for Boise State, getting set. We'll double check that chalk before we get going. And this event has sort of been the wheelhouse for the Broncos the last few seasons. There's been a lot of depth on this event, and we'll see at the back end of this rotation, Emily Lopez and Courtney Blackson, those upperclassmen leaders again in rotation number 2.
And Talia starts off here with a big Maloney into a pack salto, half pirouette here. Setting up for her dismount. Into a double layout, little step, but good routine for Talia. She has been doing the blindfold double back the past 2 meets for the Broncos, so glad to see her double layout back in the routine tonight.
Back over to the vault, and the sophomore from Owasso, Oklahoma, Ellie Cachola.
Big vault right there, Yurchenko full, and she brings it down into a really controlled landing. That was definitely an awesome vault for her. You'll see it here in the replay. Powerful run, big block. That's what you want to see, that height, that distance. And then just a small little pike down, but she controls the landing really well. That should be a good score.
So again, you see the scores there on the left-hand side of your screen. Those scores will come in real time. So if you don't hear us announce a score for someone that we've already moved past, keep an eye on those numbers, and you will be as in the loop as we are, probably more in the loop than we are, because you get them technically before we do. So back over to the bars for Boise State, and Danny Nakayama in the lineup now for the second time tonight. When we talked to Coach Bird earlier this week, she said that she had been competing a little bit in exhibition, and now she's broken her way in for Boise State. And Danny ready to go now in rotation number 2.
She's setting up here. And she'll be doing another Maloney into that pack salto again. Oh, Missed her hands a little bit in the transition. Great half pirouette. As she's setting up for her dismount. Half in, half out. Little step on the dismount. Good to see Danny in the lineup. Bummer about that pack salto, but
yeah,
she's a fighter.
When you mess up on a move like that, it's really hard to finish strong, and she did that. So she can be proud of that, and she'll get in the gym and work harder on that move. That's just a little fluke.
Carly McLean for Southern Utah on her way on the vault.
Carly, again, that veteran gymnast, super powerful. Yurchenko full once again. Really good landing, similar landing to her teammate before her. And you can just see, again, I mentioned her composure. She just looks like she knows what she's doing out there, and that's what you want in a veteran gymnast. She's going to lead the team and calm everyone else down, and you can tell she's a leader.
Elena McGovern getting set to go, the sophomore from Richmond, Kentucky, for the Broncos on the bars. And we mentioned this has sort of been the wheelhouse for the Broncos the past few seasons. There is some depth missing now. We saw the departure of Emily Mullenhop and a few others that have really, they were the workhorses at the top end or the back end of the lineup, I guess. And now we see tonight for the first time at home whether or not those upperclassmen at the back end can step up. But more importantly, we get to see some of these younger gymnasts that we've not gotten to see much of yet find their spots in this Boise State lineup.
I think it's really good for these younger girls to get the experience. Yes, Boise State has notoriously been really strong on bars due to the coaching. Yvonne is an amazing bars coach. So it'll come with time. They're just a little bit inconsistent. They're lacking some of that leadership, some of that upperclassmen, just that experience. So it's a little different period for the Broncos, but overall their bars is amazing. They just got to find that consistency.
Elena does a clear hip, right into a ginger, down to the low bar. Big combination there for Elena. Good handstand on the high bar. And a full out to a little step at the end, but good routine for Elena. And you'll see here, I like to call this a textbook full out. You can really see the tuck and the full twist at the end of the dismount. Super awesome for Elena tonight.
Caitlin Coe ready now for Southern Utah on the vault.
One of the Coe sisters up here. She's gonna do a 1.5, huge power. And I would say, yes, that's gonna be a couple tenths of deduction because she did run out of that skill, but a coach wants to see over rotation rather than under rotation. So the fact that she ran out of that because she had too much power, a little bit of leg separation as well, but that's a 10-0 start value. So she has the skill there. She just needs to clean up the form, you know, a lot of energy going into this, a lot of adrenaline. That just with time, you figure out how to control that, and then you find those landings. But really powerful. It's awesome to see one of those Yurchenko 1.5s thrown in the lineup.
Our first look now at Kylie Hamby, the freshman from Edmond, Oklahoma. A new face in this Bronco lineup, making her debut inside Extra Mile Arena.
She sets up here. Wow, big release move right down to the low bar. A little below horizontal. The judges like to see you. Wow, right to a stick. Awesome routine for the freshman.
Yeah,
Her teammates should be super proud.
That's really awesome seeing her step up as a freshman. Really pretty double layout right there, and she finds the landing. Awesome for a freshman to get that stick.
Kayla Pardo now ready to go for Southern Utah on the vault in rotation number 2.
Takes a deep breath. You'll see some gymnasts just get going real fast, try to get it over with. She's taking her time. Big vault, another one of those 1.5s. You love to see those big vaults. That one was a little bit more controlled on the landing. She'll get rewarded for that in the score. The judges are looking for right here, that big block off the table, nice and squared shoulders, and then once they block, twisting. She spots the ground, and that's what you have to do on those half twisting moves. They're blind landing. So leaving that head behind, spotting the ground, that's going to help her be more controlled on that landing.
Well, last week she was the Mountain Rim Gymnastics Conference Specialist of the Week on vault, bars, and beam. Emily Lopez, the junior, getting set for Boise State on the bars.
Great handstand to start it off into a blind, and that piked Jaeger. Another great handstand. You can just see in all of Emily's routines, she has that attention to detail, legs together, pointed toes, and a stuck double layout to wrap it up. Awesome routine for Emily. Just a dominant force in that Bronco lineup.
Everybody in this arena on their feet on this dismount.
Yeah, that's special. She is a really, really good gymnast. Fun to watch. She calms the team down, and when the team sees someone like that, they feed off of it.
Rachel Smith for Southern Utah on the vault.
She does one of those half on, half off into a tuck position, similar to the vault we saw Alyssa do from Boise State. Really clean, nice job. Little hop on the landing, but a unique vault for sure. You see that twist on, off, and then she's got that tuck position. Just that step backwards, but nice, clean vault for her.
From one junior to another, Courtney Blackson now getting ready to go, the junior from Elk Grove. And the last Bronco to go in the lineup in rotation number 2.
And watch out for Courtney's release move. She'll do it at the end of her routine. It's called a cortina, and it's really impressive, especially at the end of her routine.
So you hear Jeremy, our in-house announcer over the PA system, 9975 for Emily Lopez, bringing more bars than Kendrick Lamar.
Something about the Emilys in here.
Courtney ready to go. Easy to follow that.
Great handstand. Down to a shoot over. Another great handstand. And Courtney will set up for that cortina. Great giants. Good form overall for Courtney. Into a stick. Wow, what a great routine for Blackson.
The end half of this lineup is really delivering. That was an amazing routine from Courtney. Way to end off that number 6 spot. That's what you want to see in a team. You want them to build.
So
You could see she got that stick hammer.
Courtney is fired up. We'll tabulate the scores and be back with rotation number 3 here momentarily as the Broncos make their way to beam. Southern Utah on their way to the floor. We'll be back in just a moment on the Bronco Digital Network. Stick with us. Back inside Extra Mile Arena, we get ready for rotation number 3. But in rotation number 2, it was the dynamic duo, of Emily Lopez and Courtney Blackson leading the way on bars for Boise State. They tie with a pair of 9925s. Massive routines on the back end of the lineup for Boise State.
And you could just see here the pointed toes. Lopez had it all from start to finish. She really knows how to accentuate the handstand and end it with the stick.
Yeah, back-to-back routines. That's what you want at the end of your lineup. You want these veterans coming out, doing what they do best and delivering with that score. It pays off.
You see Courtney Blackson here. She was the anchor in the lineup. Massive routine here from the junior. They are the oldest 2 in the lineup on bars for Boise State this season. And Courtney brought the noise here on this dismount.
And you've seen a lot of growth from these 2 the past couple years, and it's exciting to see them at the end of the lineup and really take that opportunity and crush it on this event.
On the Southern Utah side, it was freshman Kayla Pardo.
With that huge 1.5 and just that small step forward, but this vault speaks for itself. Big block, big distance. it's so much harder than what it looks like. What she's doing is a really, really hard, challenging move.
9.825 there for Kayla. So now through 2 rotations, your score 97-975 for Southern Utah, 97-950. So they're right there now, Boise State is, through 2 rotations. They make their way over to the beam. Southern Utah now to the floor. We'll be back with rotation number 3 momentarily. Sit tight. More to come here on the Bronco Digital Network. Rotation number 3 is here, and that means that Boise State is on the beam and Southern Utah is on the floor. Boise State, the number 14 beam team in the country. They're currently tied in that spot with Ohio State, just 1 spot ahead of the Bulldogs in the SEC of Georgia. And this team ready to go on beam tonight. All upperclassmen, well, relatively speaking anyway, juniors and sophomores for Boise State tonight on the beam.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. Beam is such a hard event, so the fact that they're ranked the highest out of all the other events for them, it's super exciting. You want to see good form. You want to see not rushing through the routines, really taking their time. So it'll be fun to watch.
You see the lineups there on the left-hand side of your screen. Alyssa Vilai, Talia Little, Erin Elkabaki, Emily Lopez, Emma Loim, and Adriana Pop for Boise State on the beam. And then for Southern Utah on floor, some names that we've seen for the Flippin' Birds now for a few years. All there on the left-hand side. Voltaggio, Cachola, Smith, McLean, Schwartz, and Goal for the Flippin' Birds. And this is where the meet kind of slows down a little bit, so you have to kind of keep your composure, stay plugged in, stay engaged. But Alyssa Vilai engaged, ready to go, ready for Boise State now to start off rotation number 3.
This is a super important spot, always that leadoff spot. You want to set the tone for the team. And I've just seen a lot of composure from Alyssa these past couple years. So excited to see her start things off, getting going with her dance. Sets up for a gainer back handspring layout, step out. She was a little off, but she didn't take too much of a wobble. It will be a little bit of a deduction, but nothing major. Switch leap into a gainer layout, step out. She is super powerful. That combination right there takes so much strength, and she made it look easy. You see, she really finishes all the way through her fingers, making eye contact with the judges. That is hard to do. This beam is 4 inches wide, 4 feet off the ground. It's hard to just walk on, let alone flip around and smile at the judges. So she's doing an awesome job standing front. You can see she's found her rhythm right here. She's fun to watch on this event for sure. In college gymnastics, you see a lot of the same skills. So you're going to see a lot of that back handspring layout, step out. So how the judges set themselves, or how the gymnasts set themselves apart to the judges is by that sharpness, that clean form, and of course that stuck landing. She teed me up for that good ending. That was an awesome routine to start off for the Broncos.
One more look at Alyssa's dismount before we make our way to the floor.
Yeah, perfect stuck landing. That's what you want to see. You want to leave the judges with that look.
Haley Voltaggio now for Southern Utah.
She sets up here for her first pass. Nice double pike, great landing there. Some dance moves in front of the judges.
Really nicely passed there. You want to see the gymnast get to that 180 or even above, and she definitely went over and beyond in that straddle jump.
Kind of a unique pass you don't really see too often. You see she went side to side for her tumbling pass there instead of a diagonal, so quite a powerful gymnast here.
She did step out of bounds though, so that will be a deduction. She stepped out with 1 foot. You can step on the white line, but once you go out onto that blue carpet outside of the line, then it's considered that out of bounds, that deduction.
Going into her last pass. Double tuck, chest a little low, but she was able to pull out that landing.
on the floor for
It's a
Haley-
strong routine for them to start off with. Saw that little out of bounds. They'll build off of that. So good job for Haley
Alicia
right there.
Farage, 9.8 on the beam for the
Haley wraps
Broncos.
up
Next up on the bream
for Southern
Boise
Utah.
State,
One more look.
Talia Little.
Huge punch there for Southern Utah. And now Talia Little on the beam.
You'll see a little different style here. So with Alyssa, you saw she was more powerful, sharp, really aggressive. And Talia is a very classically trained gymnast. You can tell she's very calm, really pretty lines, moves just a little bit slower. Each person has their own rhythm. She's got that layout step out, really nicely done, pulls it up. You want to see gymnasts pull their chest up and get right into that finish so they can alleviate any deductions. Good full turn right there. Sets up for that switch leap. Straddle quarter. It's always challenging when you land facing the judges, not straight down the beam. Makes it a little bit more challenging, and she handled that really well. Pretty front aerial to that beat jump. You'll see a lot of connections throughout beam. You have to build up those bonus tenths by doing challenging moves connected to each other. And right there, that doesn't even give her anything, but it just shows that extra little bit of artistry, showing off her flexibility. Just the dismount left. Let's see if she can get that stick round off. 1.5, and she holds on to it. There we go, nice and controlled. Really, really good routine for her. We'll see that dismount one more time, round off, big punch, spots the landing, and grips with her toes. You'd be so shocked how much the toes help with beam. Every little inch, they're there to grip.
You are looking live at Ellie Cachola for Southern Utah, the second gymnast to go here in rotation number 3. As we wait for the needle drop here inside Extra Mile Arena for the beginning of the music.
Double tuck for her first pass. Little step to the side there.
Every gymnast has their own style on floor, and the coaches try and choreograph based off of what the gymnasts like, their dancing style, how they want to move through the routine.
Front full to a front layout. Good distance there, good height.
Really pretty leap pass right there. You'll see she hits that full split, maybe even goes a little bit over.
And she'll set up here for her third pass. Great finish. That was a front Rudy, right to a split jump so she can get that extra bonus. Great routine for the Thunderbirds.
9.675. Earlier on the beam for Boise State, Talia Little, 9.825. And next up on the beam for the Broncos, Erin Elkabachi.
You'll see her last pass. Just kidding, not her last pass, her first pass. Does that double tuck. She kind of dances out of it. You'll see a lot of finessing in college, a lot of trying to cover up those deductions. She did a nice job.
And now Erin Elkabachi on beam for Boise State in rotation number 3.
Yeah, Erin's been through a lot. She had an injury last season, and she's back. Really pretty gymnast on this event. Beautiful series right there with that layout step out. Definitely takes her time. Beat jump into that side aerial, just super composed. You want to see her hold those finishes. She shows full control to the judges. Little jump combination right here. Slight little bobble, but pulls it back on. beam takes a lot of core strength. So whenever you're slightly off, there's not a lot of room for error. You have to engage your core. It'll bring you right back to center, and that's what she did right on that jump combo. Sets up for her dismount. Again, with that 1.5 little tiny hop, but super controlled. She didn't give away much in that routine.
One more look at the senior from Murrieta, California.
Glued legs, just that little hop. Nice work from Erin.
And now Rachel Smith for Southern Utah.
I know Rachel's one of those veterans. I recognize her. Can't remember if I competed against her or she's just been here for a while and I've been watching her, but she's just really relaxed, gives off that cool, calm energy.
As she preps for her first pass. A whip to a huge double back. Now you'll see that sting mat in the middle of the floor. That is not a deduction, but will help her get more power for that huge double back that you guys just saw.
And these gymnasts, their bodies go through a lot, so those mats on the floor help alleviate some of the sting in their ankles. Even though they make it look like it's easy and doesn't hurt, I assure you, there's a little bit of pain that goes along with this sport. Playing up to the crowd, to her teammates.
Second pass here. Rudy right to a split jump. Great height there.
Rachel's a taller gymnast, so the moves she does just look really pretty and elongated.
Earlier on the beam for Boise State,
and you'll see she only did 2 passes in that routine, so the difficulty she did was enough that she only had to do 2 tumbling passes. The more you can get rid of those deductions, the less moves you can do, the better off in college.
Emily Lopez on the beam now for Boise State in rotation number 3.
And all day she's been delivering, we'll see on balance beam, but again, just that calm presence she gives off. Sets up for her series, back handspring, layout, step out, into a third move. That triple series, you don't see it a lot. You'll see it from a couple gymnasts on Boise State. Again, that more difficulty, more risk involved, but again, that should give her more reward from the judges. Split jump into that straddle half, hits those angles, gets to that full extension, that 180 degrees. There's certain requirements on each event. One of them is you have to travel forward, so she nails that requirement right there. Travel forward or sideways. She gets that done with that front toss. Then showing off her dance just a little bit more, headed into her dismount. She ends with that gainer full off the side. And I don't think she moved those feet. So again, well done from Emily. 3 for 3 tonight, just as expected.
One more look at Emily.
Gainer full, maybe a little shuffle. Too close to tell. Looked good to me.
Carly McLean now on floor for Southern Utah in the last 2 weeks, has led the way for Southern Utah with a 9.925 on this event. She's on a hot streak.
That is a big score.
Big double pike right there. And she'll set up for her second pass. 1.5 twists, right to a front layout. Combination pass, good height on the front layout.
Yeah, like Hope said, she had great height on that front layout. You want to see, when there's 2 flips in a row, you want to see a rise on that second flip. So she did that 1.5, and then you want to see a little rise if the gymnast is doing it correctly, which she totally did.
And if your teammates aren't doing your choreography with you, are you even a college gymnast?
Third pass, double back. Great landing there for Carly.
Yeah, really difficult routine. 2 double flipping passes in one routine. I believe now with the rules, that gives you an extra 1/10 of bonus with the judges. So the ending, she ends with that big double back right there. Chest is high. And she made it look easy, but I can tell you that is not easy to do at the end of a routine.
Emma Loyam now on beam for the Broncos. High this season of 9.875.
Yeah, Emma has another one of those triple series passes. We'll see it right here. A little bit more difficult. She does 2 of those layouts in a row. Beautifully done. Super challenging right there. You have to be so straight on to not wobble at all, and she executed that perfectly. Full turn. Looks like the easiest skill in a routine. Can get you sometimes. That skill always snuck up on me. She nailed it. Nice side aerial right there, getting that requirement done. Straight into that switch leap combination. I like how the Broncos are moving through their routines. You see that they look calm up there. I would say beam is probably one of the most nerve-wracking events we've got here in gymnastics. And they are doing such a good job. That was a true stick. I didn't see much wrong with that routine if you ask me, so we'll see what the judges say. Great routine for Emma.
9.9. And next up on the floor for the Thunderbirds, Aubrey Schwartz.
Yeah, awesome right there. You want to finish with that stick. I say it over and over, but that's one of the key components to college gymnastics.
Aubrey Schwartz now on floor for Southern Utah.
Another one of those veterans in the floor lineup. She starts out with a front double twist. It's an E-level pass.
And the harder the skill, the more bonus points they get. So she does an E, so she's going to get a little bit more of a boost than some of those other passes.
Some fun choreography. Great leap pass. A little bit of form, but overall, very nice.
Part of the routine is playing up to the judges, making eye contact. Part of the artistry.
And then Rudy combination pass there.
Another one of those 2-pass routines. So she got all of her difficulty in those 2 passes. She didn't even need to do a third.
We'll see that combination pass again. Really good height and a great routine for Aubrey.
So you hear a little bit of a cheer here in the arena as the score for Emma Loyam gets announced, 9.925, leading the way for the Broncos in rotation number 3 on beam. As we look now at Adriana Pop.
And Pop is Poppy on this event, if you want to say that. You'll see her series. She also does another one of those triple series. The difficulty Boise State has on this event is pretty remarkable. You'll see she even does a more difficult series, huge layout. So she goes back handspring, step out, back handspring, 2 feet into a 2-foot layout. Probably one of the most challenging series that anyone's doing in college gymnastics. And she moves a little bit like we saw Alyssa in the beginning spot. She's more sharp, aggressive. It's just personal preference at that point. But I love watching Pop on beam. She's super fun to watch, especially when she nails these routines. Big dismount right there. Beautifully done, stuck. I'd say they're just building off of the momentum they started at the beginning. This is an awesome rotation for the Broncos.
Schwartz 9.8 earlier on the floor for Southern Utah.
Yeah, cherry on top, gets that stick. I'd hate to jinx it, but I don't know. She might get a better score than that last routine.
Teammates are fired up as we move to Taylor Gull for Southern Utah, the final gymnast for the Flippin' Birds in rotation number 3.
Big double pike, chest down on the landing, managed to pull it out in the end. Getting ready for her second pass here. We'll see that 1.5 twist to the front layout.
Floor is one of those events that you want to use your adrenaline in your favor, but you don't want to overdo it, right? The floor has springs underneath it, so that's how they can get this power. But when you have that adrenaline, this is one of those events. I'd say floor and vault, it helps out a little bit. You want to control it more on the other events.
Finishes it off with that double back. Great landing there. Good routine from Taylor.
So Taylor, the final gymnast to go for Southern Utah, will take one more look.
That last pass there, you see how she had good distance in her landing. And a great finish in that anchor spot for the Thunderbirds.
So that'll be the end of rotation number 3. Boise State has swung the pendulum the other way. Stick around for rotation number 4. Boise State closes the gap and then overtakes Southern Utah in rotation number 3. A huge beam score there for the Broncos, 49.3. Leading the way is Emma Loyam and Adriana Pop, a pair of 9.925s, absolutely massive routines. We'll take a look at them here momentarily, but Alex, Hope, what did you see out of the Broncos on beam in rotation number 3?
Just consistency. On beam, you don't want to do anything special that you wouldn't do in practice, and I think that's the hardest part, is getting a hold of those nerves and being able to do what you do in practice in competition. These girls work so hard for about a minute 30 to compete, and on beam they're clearly showing that they've been putting in the work, and it's really awesome to see. It shows through those scores.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. And going off what Alex said, the preparation and practice is really key when you come out on the competition floor and being able to produce like the Broncos did on this beam lineup.
Well, you guys said right before she started the routine that Emma Loyam, calm, cool, collected, couldn't have been any more so during this beam routine that was worth a 9.925.
Yeah, huge series right there. Just calm. That's the word of beam. So what Tina always tells them is just be normal on beam. You don't need to do anything crazy, anything special. You got to stick with that muscle memory. You know what to do. She delivered right there.
And then Adriana Pop followed. Cooler than Olaf in the movie Frozen.
Huge triple series. You see that replay again here. Really solid landing and ended that with a stick.
But not to be outdone, Carly McLean on Southern Utah leads the way for the Flippin' Birds with a 9.9. And if you had Carly McLean, the high score for Southern Utah on your bingo card, go ahead and mark that down. A massive routine from Carly, who posted a 9.925 in the 2 weeks prior to this evening.
Yeah, no surprise there. She's a huge powerhouse on this event. Big tumbling, ending off with that double back, sky high. That's what you want to see. So great job from both teams on those events.
Well, the Broncos will try to widen that gap as we enter rotation number 4. They make their way to the floor. Southern Utah now headed to the beam. Hang with us here on the Bronco Digital Network. We'll be right back with rotation number 4. The lead is 1/4 of a point headed into rotation number 4 as the Broncos look for their first win in 2023. They make their way over to the floor. Southern Utah on the beam, and Boise State made it happen in rotation number 3. We mentioned it just a moment ago, 49.3 as a team on the beam, led by 2 9.925s from Emma Loyam and Adriana Pop. But the Boise State Broncos have to make their bread here in rotation number 4 and hold on to that lead as they make their way to the floor. But first, we'll start on beam with Shylin Murakami from Southern Utah.
Kind of a fun mount right there. A little bit different, unique challenge to get onto the beam. Starts out with that full turn, gets it right out of the way. Shylin is also a veteran on this team. She's been competing in college gymnastics for a while now, so great lead-off spot for the T-Birds. Starts out with that triple series, really nice. Brings that back foot in for a crisp, clean landing. Jump combo right there. Split jump to sheep jump. She released her head on that second jump, which makes it more challenging. Gives her a little bit more bonus points. Sets up for a dismount. Short and sweet routine. Cartwheel, gainer full off the end. Into that stuck landing.
And now Alyssa Vulai on floor for Boise State. Sorry.
One more time with that dismount, looked really good.
First pass here, 1.5 to a front full. One of those more difficult combination passes you'll see tonight.
She's really fun to watch on this event. She just looks like she's dancing out there on her own. She's got a good rhythm.
Great leap pass.
Patty Resnick, the assistant coach for the Broncos, she choreographs all these routines, and she always plays up to the girls' energies and their kind of attitude when they get on the floor. So they all fit them really well.
Setting up for her last pass here to a really nice double pike. See, her legs were glued together. Really good routine for that startup spot.
You see, she's pumped up. When she landed that double pike, she audibly said yes. I don't know if that's been a challenge for her lately or she's just super excited. You'll see it right here.
You see again those legs glued together. A little cheer at the end.
Yeah, great start for the Broncos.
Rachel Smith on the beam now for Southern Utah.
Ooh, really interesting series right there. You do not see a round off layout step out very often. She's tumbling like she'd be on the floor. That's really challenging to go from that side move to a backward move and stay straight on. Rachel's a really tall gymnast, so her center of gravity is a little bit higher than the rest of the girls, which makes gymnastics a little bit more challenging. Also makes her lines nice on this event. These routines are really short. They're getting all their skills done, getting off the beam. Little step on that dismount, but good, solid routine for Rachel. You'll see that dismount one more time. Glued legs, just that tiny little step backwards. She kind of dug into her heels. You want to be more on the middle of your foot when you're doing those landings.
And back over to the floor, we mentioned the Georgia Bulldogs a little bit earlier. A gal that's probably very familiar with the Georgia Bulldogs, a freshman from Athens, Georgia, Brantley Lucas, a new face for the Boise State Broncos, making her way into the lineup in rotation number 4 this evening.
This is Brantley's first appearance tonight. First pass here, big double pike. Managed to get that landing.
It's always fun as a freshman coming out, competing your first couple of times. You get the nerves out, especially on floor. You can kind of just have fun with it. Get those jitters out. College is a lot more exciting than club, so for these freshmen, this atmosphere is so different from what they're used to in club. It's a lot more fun. Club's very serious, so it's exciting for them.
Second pass here. 1.5 front layout.
The air awareness these gymnasts have is pretty uncanny. You can see that she was really close to stepping out, but she knew exactly where she was, and she kept it in bounds. That's what makes or breaks some of these floor scores.
She's really having fun with this floor routine. You could see her smiling the whole time, trying to engage with her teammates. Setting up for her last pass here. Double back, step forward. But great routine for the freshman.
So Brantley Lucas makes her debut at home and makes sure that it's a good one as we take one more look.
Last pass here. You could see her chest was a little low.
Ellie Cachola now on beam for Southern Utah. We're going to wear her name out by the end of the evening.
Yeah, she's a consistent gymnast for sure. Got that full turn out of the way. I like that they start with that. It's a good idea. Back handspring, layout, step out. You can see she's really grounded on the beam. She really sinks into her landings, and you don't want to pop up out of your skills on beam because, again, there's so little room for error that you want to find those landings and hold them there. Nice height on that beat jump into a standing layout step out. Takes a lot of power from the legs. Headed into that leap pass, switch leap. Nice, we've seen a couple of those combos tonight. I like it, it's really pretty. Shows off those long lines. And then I believe she's just got her dismount here. Round off 1.5, really floats it. Super pretty gymnast. She did awesome tonight. Way to finish it off for her right there.
Brantley Lucas for 9.725 on the floor for the Broncos. Next up on the floor for Boise State, Emma Loyam.
So now Emma Loyam set to go as we take one more look at Ellie's dismount there on the beam. And Emma Loyam now for Boise State on the floor.
She'll debut her new floor routine at home. A little more upbeat than last year's routine. As she'll set up here for her first pass. Into a whip, double back. Great landing there. Chest was up.
That pass is really hard, so instead of putting her hands down on the back handspring, she kept them off the ground, which makes you have to go into a little bit more of a sharper angle when you take off for that double tuck, so it goes up and not backwards. Showing a lot of difficulty right there.
Fun fact, Emma has a twin sister who's also a college gymnast.
Slowing it down right here. Trying to play to the strength of the gymnast, and of course when those tumbling passes come up, you want them to have that little break, so they tend to slow down their dance right before they head into those tumbling passes.
Last pass here. Awesome double pike. Legs were glued. Really great routine. Good landings, good leap. Tried to engage with the crowd. We'll see the last pass again here. Double pike. You see the chest was a little low. Hopped on that landing. Points up to the sky, but great routine for her.
Aubrey Schwartz now for Southern Utah on the beam in rotation at number 4 as the routines are dwindling now for Southern Utah to try to catch Boise State.
Another tall gymnast for Southern Utah. Back handspring, big layout step out, brings her chest right up. These girls practice so much, so this should be the time again where this practice pays off in this short little routine. This is what they work for. It's awesome to see them all delivering. Big move right there. We saw one of those in the routine before. That standing layout step out, not easy to do. Heads into a little jump series. Another sheep jump. Whenever you release your head on a jump, it makes it really challenging. Right into that gainer full off the end of the beam, hangs on to that stick. Nice work right there. Yeah, good work right there. A lot of stuck landings tonight. I love it. That's what college gymnastics is all about, that consistency and ending with that little cherry on top.
And now it's only fitting that one of the biggest pop stars in the world, Justin Bieber, is playing as we move over to Adriana Pop on floor for Boise State. She'll be the 4th gymnast to go for the Broncos. Only 2 routines behind her as we have a little bit of a discussion about some scoring between the judges on the floor.
Yeah, that can happen. Sometimes they come up with different start values and need to talk about it. Sometimes there's a value discrepancy. Looks like they got it figured out pretty fast. I know some of those conferences can go on for a while, and it makes it more nerve-wracking for the gymnast that's on deck, but Adriana is a veteran. She knows how to handle this situation. Floor, you want to stay loose. You don't want to get too into the routine. It's different than beam.
Next up on the floor for the Broncos, Adriana Pop.
Now Adriana will do an E-level pass here. One of the more difficult ones, a double layout, a little short on the landing.
Really challenging pass right there. The longer your body gets, the harder the move is to rotate. Unfortunately, she was just a little bit short on that. Good lead pass right there. Nice height from her.
She's prepping for her second pass and final pass of her routine. Front full, front layout, really good landing there.
Yeah, she finished strong after that first pass. I'm sure it was a little stinger as well. Never fun when you land short, but she got through it, finished strong.
On the floor for the Broncos, earlier on the floor for Boise State, Emma Williams scored at 9.5.
That double layout pass is new for Pop this year. So just getting back into the gym, training it a little more. Preparation for next week.
So now Carly McLean, who has led the way all evening long for Southern Utah, will make her way to the beam in the final rotation of the evening for the Flippin' Birds.
Yeah, this is a battle between teams. They're both doing really well. The scores are right next to each other. Carly sets up for her series right here. Another layout step out. Ooh. Big wobble, but she kept it on. Used those toes to keep her on the beam. Switch leap, split jump, nice and upright posture. Gets good height on those jumps. Cat leap into her side aerial, nice and solid. Sometimes when you have a little mistake like that, you just gotta compose yourself, get on a good rhythm, and continue with the routine, which she's doing a great job. Nice combination right there with those jumps. gets that full turn out of the way and heads right into her dismount. She'll take a deep breath before she goes, sets herself up. Round off, a nice 1.5. Just a little short on that landing. They're all going for the stick, so when they have those little bobbles, it's because they're going for it just a little too much. They got to trust their body, trust their practice. See that dismount one more time. Just a little buckle on the beam, nothing too major.
So now Elena McGovern getting ready to go on floor for Boise State as we get the scores from Adriana Pop's routine prior to Elena being discussed and passed along to the scorers table.
Next up on the floor for
So
the
now Elena ready to go.
Elena McGovern.
Elena is also debuting a new floor routine. You'll get to see a little bit of her Kentucky twang in the middle here. Getting ready for her first pass. Really good connection there.
Elena's a super powerful gymnast. Just look like she's having fun too out there. Nice jump leap combination. The judges are looking for them to make those full rotations. So if they're doing a full twist, their feet have to start and end in the same spot.
You could see her smiling, just having fun out there. See the last pass here. Gets it done with a double tuck. Really good landing for Elena.
Awesome
Wow.
routine right there.
Elena McGovern on the floor for the Broncos. Earlier on the floor for Boise State.
See her last pass again.
3-2-5.
Legs glued together. Right into that ending.
And now on the beam for the Thunderbirds,
Haley Voltaggio, the 6th gymnast to go this evening and the final gymnast to go this evening for Southern Utah on the beam.
Yeah, so 5 scores out of the 6 on every single event count. So if there's one little mishap, you can always bring it back with that 6th position. She's been really consistent all night, sets up for her series, and heads into that back handspring, layout, step out, a little step backwards. She didn't actually wobble, so they shouldn't take too much for that. Nice leap pass right there. Full turn. So you're breathing through this. A tiny little balance check right there. Setting up for her dismount, standing round off into a 1.5. Ever so small little hop, and she is so excited about that. Good rotation overall for Southern Utah. She'll be the last performer that counts in the lineup. And that 1.5 from a standing position, that's really challenging. So lots of power involved in that.
So interestingly, another discussion about score real quick on the floor for Elena McGovern. So we're still waiting on that one to come into the scorers table from both judges on floor. But Courtney Blackson, the junior, has a chance to round this out and secure win number 1 of the season for the Broncos.
This will be Blackson's 3rd appearance tonight.
Haley Voltaggio, 9.9 on the beam for Southern Utah. Next up on exhibition beam for the Thunderbirds, Kotu.
So you hear 9.9 come across for Haley Voltaggio on beam. So that will round it out for Southern Utah, and you will see that score there. Not official, but as official as we can make it at this point. So a 196.275 for Southern Utah here in Extra Mile Arena.
Courtney's got a really fun routine. She shows it off, and super powerful gymnastics. You'll see her in a second.
We'll see that combination pass. Front double twist. That front tuck is a new addition this year.
Really hard to keep that all in bounds. She did an awesome job. Kind of punched on the mat, went onto the floor, made it look effortless. She's got really pretty leaps right there. She finishes them in the right spot, showing it off right in front of the judges.
Lots of facial expressions. She just looks like she's having a blast on the floor. She'll set up for the last pass. Big 2.5.
First time we've seen that tonight. That's a challenging move right there. Round off 2.5 twist. She nailed it.
And hangs up the phone on that routine. Awesome appearance for Blackson.
So that will wrap up rotation number 4, but we'll get one more look at Courtney Blackson's final pass.
Takes so much spotting. It takes so much control to go 2.5 rotations around and then somehow find the ground, step forward. Really good work for her. Smiles at the camera.
So that'll do it for the evening. We'll tabulate some scores and make sure that we have the full rundown when we come back here on the Bronco Digital Network. Hang with us for awards and a full breakdown right after this. The Broncos remain just short after rotation number 4 as the first W of the year remains elusive. You see the final scores there. And rotation number 4 was highlighted by a pair of 9.825s for Boise State. Alyssa Vulai and Elena McGovern lead the way, but it was Haley Voltaggio from Southern Utah with a 9.9 on the beam in rotation number 4. A massive routine for the Flippin' Birds.
Yeah, you just see it in her facial expression. She was happy about that. She knew she did a good job.
And then we see Alyssa Vulai, one of the 9.825s for the Broncos, on floor.
She just had it all. Really good landings, leap pass, good expression in her choreography. Really excited to see Alyssa embrace this starting spot this year.
So once again, Boise State comes up just short on the team scores. You see them there on the side. That's from rotation number 4, the event scores anyway. 196.275 for Southern Utah, the number 21 team in the country. 195.7 for Boise State in their home opener inside Extra Mile Arena. As we await the final awards ceremony, Jeremy Peterson will walk us through that. But in the meantime, while we wait for those final scores to be officially tabulated, we'll talk a little bit really quickly about Boise State's upcoming schedule. I said it's the beginning of a home stand. Next Friday, they're right back home again against Utah State, the defending Mountain Rim champs. They'll go on the road for a week, go down to Logan, and then come back when they host the Cougars of BYU. So we kind of get the full gamut of Mountain Rim teams, at least right off the bat. And then the remainder of the season, Boise State is on the road. They go to Cedar City, they go to Minnesota, they go to Tuscaloosa, and then MRGC championships are not in Boise this year because they were here last year. So Boise State ends the season on a big away run. Probably pretty difficult, but nice to get a little bit of exposure for this younger roster at home right off the bat.
Totally, and I think the 2 meets they had away, they already know what it's like to compete on the road. And we talked to Coach Bird a little bit, and she said that a lot of the beginning of the season's bus trips. So it's the whole team can go. It's a great environment. They all get to be there to support each other, and they're hitting their stride. Every week we see those little improvements. That 195.7, it's a big improvement from last week. It's about 5/10 higher. So they're looking for that. They're competing every single week to get to that little bit higher ranking. And then by the end of the season, hopefully that's when they peak.
And to that point, this week, Boise State nearly a half point better than they were last week down at BYU. So the improvement is coming. And we saw tonight even the scores, that's an easy improvement. You can make huge strides just by hitting one more routine, two more routines throughout the entire meet. It doesn't necessarily have to be on just one event, where maybe in the past there was a lot more weight or a lot more pressure put on those routines for the one event for Boise State.
Totally. I think, as you saw, we had to count some 9.5s. We had to count some 9.6s. Those little mistakes, they're not huge. They're going to go back in the gym. They're going to figure it out. And once they get to those more consistent routines, they're going to jump into that 196, no problem. And that's where I think they want to be towards the middle of the season. And again, just grow and grow. And gymnastics is all about staying healthy, staying consistent, and then trying to get to that peak score by postseason.
Well, let's hold that thought. We'll throw it over to Jeremy Peterson as he walks you through the awards for tonight here inside Extra Mile Arena. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, you got the rundown from Jeremy Peterson on the awards and who won what. Southern Utah, tonight's winner, 196.275 to Boise State's 195.7. You see it right there on the left-hand side of your screen. And we mentioned right before we went to the awards ceremony that Boise State home again a week from tonight inside Extra Mile Arena. What does the next week look like for the Broncos in the gym as they practice, as they kind of take this now? We've seen what they look like at home. How do you prepare now for next week?
Yeah, so they're going to go back in the gym. I think a lot of technical errors happened tonight. Coach Bird mentioned earlier this week that, you know, she's been wanting to see the Broncos' potential and gain that experience in the lineups with this new freshman class. So overall, I think going back into the gym, they're just going to go work on those sticks, work on those details, and it's always nice to be at home, rest and recover, sleep in your own bed, and come back strong next week.
Boise State flashed some brilliance tonight. Emily Lopez, Courtney Blackson, Emma Loyam, Adriana Pop, all posting at some point tonight a 9.925. You have to be absolutely ecstatic that your leaders and your team leaders are posting those kind of numbers this early in the season.
Totally. It just shows the experience. It shows that practice does make perfect. And whether we like it or not, gymnastics is a perfection sport. You have to get to that point where you're confident in your routine so much that it is second nature. You get up there and you perform like these girls did. That 9925, those are not easy to get. Those are not just handed out. The judges, I think they did pretty fair scoring tonight across the board. So those are well deserved. That is showing their practice, and hopefully it's just that good example for the rest of the team. Those younger classmen coming in, seeing those girls perform, hopefully they just feed off that in the gym.
Those 9925s are the foundation that you have to lay for this team to figure out who it is early in the season. And we saw a few folks work their way into some exhibitions. We talked about Danny Nakayama. She's been competing in exhibition, found her way into the lineup tonight. The Broncos now at this point in the season have to find out if they can develop some of that depth early on.
Yeah, exhibition spots are so important. I saw Erin Morton compete on bars and beam, and it's just getting that practice, gaining that momentum to get that confidence, and you never know what's going to happen. Gymnastics is a crazy sport. We can have injuries at the end of the season. You could have someone that needs to rest one season, sickness. So you always want to have your backup girls ready. So those exhibition spots, do not count them out. We didn't show them, but however, they are so important, and I can speak from previous experience that it is possible. Again, we saw it with Danny tonight. She made her way into 2 of those lineups. That is hard work paying off.
We're only 166 hours away from being right back onto your computer screen. The Broncos return home inside Extra Mile Arena next week, Friday, February 3rd at 7 p.m. against Utah State. Hang around, make sure you're here. We'll be back in the exact same spot right here on the Bronco Digital Network. The Southern Utah Flippin' Birds take it tonight, 196-275 to Boise State's 195.7. Thank you so much for joining us for our entire crew. We'll see you next week, Friday night, right here on the Bronco Digital Network.